Hello CreateStudio user. In this tutorial I will show you how to create a warp speed animation like the following in CreateStudio free. One possibility to use this is with a logo animation like this one. I will show you. Okay, nice. Before I start, I will show you what you get as a freebie to this tutorial. Therefore, I go in the warp speed folder and you will get the project file to this animation. Here is the rendered video. You will also get the custom shape for the particle effect. I have opened this shape in Affinity Designer. So this is the custom shape. And you also get this text file with the links to two videos, one for Windows and one for Mac, where I and also Victor show you how to find the directory of the shapes for the particle effects. And for Windows, I have also here the directory. This could be a little different for you because the second user, I think, could be different. It could be your name, and also the app data folder could be hidden by you, so you have to show it. And I think I can now start. Okay, let's begin. Let's go to CreateStudio Free with a new project. I go with editing mode high and then to the effects and components. And I draw now particles on the timeline. I go with 10 seconds, and this is important that you are here precisely 10 seconds. So I can now go to the settings of the particles. The first thing is now to replace the default shape with the custom shape. I show you later how to do this with a default shape. I think it's not so nice as with the custom shape. For the replacing the default shape, I go into the shapes folder of CreateStudio Free. This is this one. And let's say I want to replace, I forgot something. Let's go into my particles folder. Let's open it in new window and let's copy this so that I'm back to the default one. And let's bring this in. So now I'm on all the default shapes, and let's say I want to replace this WordPress social media logo with my custom shape. Therefore, I have to go to my custom shape, and you see it has the same file name as the one I want to replace. This is very important. If you want, let's say, you want to replace this Windows social media logo with the custom shape, you have to go with this file name and replace the file name here with this file name. I will go with the WordPress social media logo, so I delete this. You can also cut this and place it in another folder. But I have to say that when there is an update on CreateStudio Free, it will go back here to the default one. So you will never lose something. Okay, let's now delete this because I have saved it in another folder. Delete this, copy this one, and paste it here in. So now I have this in my particles effect. Let's go and close this too. And now let's go to the shapes and to the WordPress, which is now replaced. You see here no thumbnail, but when I click on it, and let's make this larger, let's go to something like 6. You now see the default shape is now in. I go with the count to 500. I also want 2 additional colors. Let's first close the shapes and let's go with a light blue and with a darker light blue. So now I have here 3 colors: white, light blue, darker light blue. Let's go make this a little darker. So when I now scroll in, you see here 3 different colors. With the animation, I go to spiral with the speed to 30, with the radius to 100, and also 100 for the scaling. So now I have an animation like this. You see, I also have a rotation, which I don't want. I could fix this with another rotation of the motion presets. And here I go with in and rotation, rotation, easing linear. And for this one, I go with 600. And now I increase the duration of the motion preset animation to the end of the element, so that it also has exactly 10 seconds. For the 600 rotation, I have here a sheet. Let's show you. If you have a duration of 10 seconds and a speed of 10, let's say 10, you have to go here with 200. If you have a speed of 20%, you have to go to 400. With 30, you have to go to 600, and so on. 40, 800, and so on. If you have only 5 seconds here, you have to go with the rotation, and the speed of 10, you have to go with the rotation to 100, and so on. If you have 20 seconds, you have to double here this. You have to go with the speed of 10% to 400, with the speed of 20 to 800, and so on. Okay, let's close this and let's now play it. And now you see that there's no rotation in the particle animation, but you also see that you have not covered the whole canvas with the animation. And therefore I go in the settings to properties and with the scale to 210. So now the whole canvas is covered with the animation. You see, when I go with 200, I lose a little bit here. So 210 is the best choice here. And when I now play it, let's bring this in, and now I have this animation. Nice. Okay. I don't want all these things here in the middle, so therefore I go with a track matte and with a circle, So I bring in now a circle. Go with the length or with the duration the same as the animation below. And with the color to black. And I also go here with an effect, with a blur effect. You can also go with edge feather, but I go with blur. Let's go 200. And with the scale of the circle to 70. So now I have something like this here. I also want here a little, let's say, motion blur or blur on the lines. So I go with a blur on the animation. And here under effects blur, I go to 1. So now I have something like this. Okay, let's group these two elements and rename this to warp speed. And I don't want the lines here outside the canvas. So an easy fix is to go into the group, make the boundaries custom size to the same of the canvas from the main timeline, and this is 1080p HD. Go back to the timeline, select the group, and go here on the right to mask. So now I have nothing outside of the canvas, and I see what I get later in the rendering. Let's also go for another background color. Therefore I go with a rectangle, fit it to the canvas size, bring this down. And I forgot something. Let's go into the group. I forgot to mask because it's the same, it looks the same there without mask. So I select the animation, settings, track matte, circle, alpha, and inverted, enabled. So now when I'm here and play this, this is now on a light background. It's also nice on a light background. I like this also, but I want this in space or more spacey. So I go with purple, a bluish purple color, dark. Let's go with something like this. Okay. Nice. If you want to go with a default shape and not want to replace a custom default shape with a custom shape, let's go into the, or let's select the animation, go to settings, and what is okay, it's not as good as the custom shape, is to go with a speech bubble, the first here in this panel. And let's bring this here up. You see it's a little large. So I go with the size to 1, let's go with 1.5. With the count, I go in this case to 1000. And now I have something like this. It's also not bad, but you see here of the speech bubble, you have, I think it's okay. You have this little edges here when I go and disable the blur. You see here these edges. Let's go back to the main timeline and, oh, I'm on high. Let's go back. You see here these corners here. When I enable the blur with 1, I have something like this. This is okay. You can also go with, let's say, 2. Now it's a little more blurry. Let's go back to the main timeline. But I think it's okay. It's nicer with the custom shape, but this is also a possibility if you don't want to replace the default shape with a custom shape. Okay, I hope this will help you. Thank you and goodbye.